So I've been working on a theory of everything for some time now. I've actually been interested in it all my life. And it's called the spiritual theory of everything, STOEM. The M's for model. And I'm using artificial intelligence to write it. I've produced about 30 papers in the last 2 weeks. It's at an incredible pace because all I really have to do is put in ideas and it handles all the grammar and the mathematics. It's in ChatGPT 4 and it gets access to everything basically that's ever been written. So if I mention some advanced concept in physics, it pulls it right in and does the math. And if I modify some of the ideas, the math's modified. And I sure don't have to look for typos or look through proofs, mathematical proofs, to see if it's correct. And one of the things that it's premised on is the idea that the universe started by God throwing this infinitely complex fractal into the universe. And fractals are self-similar, and you can see them in nature on the back of a turtle or the branching of a tree or your own veins in your hand. And in addition to this fractal, I postulated a orthogonal dimension, which is a direct connection spiritually between man and God. And well, we don't want to define God, so there's not much there except for a spiritual connection. And so the physical fractal evolves and it iterates. Time is replaced by iteration of the fractal. And the duration of the iteration could be the Planck time, which would be about 10 to the minus 34 seconds, or it could be infinitely fast. I really don't know. Some interesting things fall out of it. There's definitely a relationship with general relativity, and there's a new idea about gravity, which has never been really understood before. But I think the really interesting part is that it sort of fits Spinoza in that the entire universe is alive. And then there's this spiritual connection back to God. So all of these things are interdependent, which gives a oneness to the model. And I just went over the anthropic principle with it. But what's really struck me is that every thought each of us has shapes the universe. We're not just along for the ride. Our thoughts have a profound effect on the structure of the universe. And so every once in a while, somebody comes along and has some very interesting thoughts. For example, Einstein. That changed a lot. And those weren't just thoughts he had. Those influenced the universe. So in the sense of a multiverse, that took us probably down one path. And those multiverses might split infinitesimally fast, so we're following one path that perhaps is dependent on our own thoughts. Then, every once in a while, somebody like Jesus comes along, and that profoundly affects things. I mean, that's been going on for 2,000 years, or Isa in the 8th century. And these people, as far as what we know about them, well, only Jesus knew Jesus, and only Isa knew Isa. But we know that their thoughts had profound effects. Maybe their spiritual connection was unity with God. So what concerns me at the present moment is that we have a bunch of people thinking a bunch of weird things. And that kind of goes back to Orwell with, what was it, beer, football, and above all, gambling. I'd add shopping myself, drives me nuts. And the TV set, wow. You know, the idea of our thoughts affecting the universe. Well, what happens if you have a bunch of money and you do some advertising? Then you get somebody's thoughts amplified all over the place. And, you know, we're all concerned that there's puppet masters behind our world leaders who, some of them look like stooges. I am very concerned about people playing war games, those kind of thoughts. I'm afraid that thinking about war games and nuclear Armageddon strategies and mutual assured destruction thrown in with things like the love of money and who knows what else kind of depraved stuff goes on. I'm afraid that they just might cross over into reality, that they're simulations in their heads. Somebody might follow through on that. And it seems like it should have happened so many times before, like the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, or all of these viruses that they've done gain of function on. That one at BU, OMI-S, is 70% lethal if it gets out. And so that's where the thinking, what people think about, can cross over into reality. And, you know, we need a sea change in what we think about. Why not think about some music, and some art, some mathematics, some cosmology, and lay off the weapons